and therefore we will fully support the working paper 185. Thank you.
Thank you, Germany. I'll now invite Nepal to take the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Nepal supports the working paper 185 presented by ACI on aerodrome safety. And here I would like to state that Nepal has initiated to participate in APEX program of ACI. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nepal. No further requests for the floor. So I'll give the floor to Secretariat for any clarifications.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We note the request by the committee or to refer the suggestions made in working paper 141 to an appropriate expert group, and that perhaps is the flight operations panel and perhaps also the safety management panel. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much for the clarification. So we can conclude as follows. That's on other safety intelligence initiatives. As seen in China's experience, positive results can be achieved through the application of an operational risk management system for air carriers. And as Secretariat indicated, they've noted a request to, for Secretariat or ICAO to share this experience. Then the second is regional strategies for the collection and analysis of safety data and safety information can be effective in progressing SSP implementation should be promoted. Finally, a variety of conducted activities provide valuable contributions to aerodrome safety, notably in relation to emerging issues that affect aerodrome safety. That concludes our discussion on agenda item 7.1. We'll move straight to 7.2. And 7.2 deals with operational safety risks at the global, regional, and national levels, and the role of RSOs and RASC in achieving the GASP goals. The GASP sets out a continuous improvement strategy, which includes goals and targets for states, regions, and industry to meet through the implementation of safety initiatives to address organizational and operational safety issues. In this sub-item, we will review working papers on identifying issues that need to be addressed to meet the GASP goals and targets. There are no specific secretarial paper for these sub-items, and we'll take all the working papers in one batch. We'll start with the presentation of WP 127 by the United States. United States, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The role of the regional aviation safety groups is to support the safety benefits of the Global Aviation Safety Plan to continue to reduce fatalities in commercial aviation. The established framework of the RASGs has allowed fulfillment of this role and has contributed to improved safety in the regions. This is largely due to the implementation of safety enhancement initiatives and that address risk based on collaborative, data-driven processes. As the GASP and the Global Air Navigation Plan are interrelated, with the later being supported regionally through the planning and implementation regional groups, achieving this respective objective is inherently dependent upon coordination among the two groups. However, the continued success of the RASGs is vital for the improvement of safety within the regions and can only be accomplished through a strong, safety-focused framework. The United States recommends proceeding with caution in considering the restructuring of these regional mechanisms and that it be done in consultation with the states, as any restructuring could have a detrimental effect on safety. As each region is unique, a solution tailored to the needs of each region should be considered upon further discussion. In order to ensure that the RASGs continue to support the benefits of the GASP and improve safety in the regions, the United States recommends that ICAO and member states study the safety benefits of the RASGs, which have resulted from the current safety framework, and support its sustainment. The United States requests that the conference approve the recommendations contained in Working Paper 127. Thank you.
Thank you, United States. I'll again invite the United States to present Working Paper 63, Revision 1, on behalf of ACI, Council, FSF, IATA, IAOPA, IBAC, ICCAIA, FALPA, and IFATCA. United States, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The United States endorses the ICAO Runway Safety Program and its supporting recommendations in the Global Runway Safety Action Plan. Runway safety events, particularly runway excursions and incursions, remain among civil aviation's top safety risk categories. Since 2011, ICAO and the Runway Safety Program partners have been working together to minimize and mitigate the risks runway excursions, runway incursions, and other events linked to runway safety. This paper discusses the activities of the ICAO-led RSP and the launch of the Global Runway Safety Action Plan. The current edition of the Global Aviation Safety Plan identifies runway safety as a global safety priority. Runway safety-related events, as defined in the GASP and the ICAO Annual Safety Report, include the following ICAO accident occurrence categories: abnormal runway contact, bird strike, ground collisions, ground handling, runway excursion, runway incursion, loss of control on the ground, collision with obstacles, and overshoot or undershoot. The Global Runway Safety Action Plan provides recommended actions for all runway safety stakeholders, including ICAO and the Runway Safety Program partners, state civil aviation authorities, regional safety oversight organizations, regional aviation safety groups, aircraft operators, aerodrome operators, air navigation service providers, and aerospace industry. Assembly Resolution A37-6, Runway Safety, urges states to take measures to enhance runway safety. In accordance with the Global Runway Safety Action Plan, ICAO will continue to enhance ICAO runway safety-related provisions, including guidance, and continue to work with its runway safety partners to assist states in achieving further runway safety enhancements. On behalf of the United States, ICAO, and our partners in the ICAO Runway Safety Program, we welcome the opportunity for collaboration amongst ICAO member states and industry to minimize and mitigate the risk of runway excursions, runway incursions, and other events linked to runway safety. Thank you.
Thank you very much, United States. We invite Colombia to present WP 179, and this paper is supported by the South American states. Colombia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. In this working paper, Colombia is seeking to raise the issue of bird hazard and the risk to safety. In view of past experience, the results can be catastrophic of a bird strike, and so it's necessary to assess the problem from a risk assessment point of view. In the case of Colombia and in other regions of the world, there are high rates of bird strikes. This matter was analyzed in regional meetings such as RASPA, and the RASPA and yet no meaningful action has taken place to address the bird strike hazard, and no solutions have been found. It's important to prioritize and promote the inclusion of this topic as one of the GASP priorities. In addition, it is very important to have compiled statistics through iStars, for example, which would allow all stakeholders to get a better understanding of migratory and seasonal behavior and understand the impacts to aviation. Colombia, with the support of the South American countries, invites the conference to take note of this paper and comment on it, and circulating conclusion on the following points include bird strikes in GASP, invite states to share statistics on incidents as well as their strategies or any actions taken to control the rates of such incidents through ICAO iStars, and to promote inclusion of bird strike data and airspace with greater probability occurrence. And an app could be developed in iStars for this purpose. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Colombia. We've noted information papers 81 and 159 presented by IAC on methodical recommendations for airplane protection from icing up on the ground and regional safety oversight organizations, examples of achievements and developments respectively. So thank you very much. Yes, yes. All right. We also have one more WP in this batch. That's working paper 158, presented by IAC on behalf of AMAC, AXA, AXAC, ASA, AC, Bagaso, CASOA, CASOS, ICA, EU, IAC, ISASO, PASO, SRVSO. I think we should have an exam and a prize for anybody who will get all the abbreviations right. But IAC, you have the floor for WP 158.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I'm not going to be tripping over my tongue. I'm just going to say that this is represented and presented by a whole group of states. The document deals with strengthening regional safety oversight organizations. The subject echoes the discussion that was so productive yesterday regarding the GASOS system. Nonetheless, I will allow myself the opportunity to remind all of us of the reasons for the attempts to transition to that new system for safety oversight. The traditional model foresees that all safety oversight functions are performed directly by a state civil aviation authority. Today, a new paradigm is essential for safety oversight because of a number of factors, most of which you know well and are influencing the aviation system today. The world of aviation is changing rapidly, becoming more complicated, and within the next 15 years, as you know, it is predicted that air traffic will double, which will require significant additional resources to ensure that the aviation safety system is stable. The business model, ownership, registration of aircraft is changing, also thereby affecting the safety oversight system. It is essential to adapt to the future demands of a rapidly expanding aviation industry with new technologies and new systems such as remotely piloted aircraft systems. Different regulatory systems, overlapping auditing and recertification programs require a rethink of current safety oversight systems in order to simplify the system for better resource management, to resolve current inefficiencies, and to deal with future challenges that result from the growth of the civil aviation industry. The harmonization of safety regulations at a regional level and a more effective management of safety oversight resources may be a solution to meet these growing, complicated challenges. In this context, the development of regional cooperation has, in the past 15 years, been a priority for many states. At the same time, it was also actively promoted by ICAO and the aviation industry. RSOOs, the regional organizations, are well placed to address those challenges as they have a mandate received through regionalization of certain oversight functions, and they have the technical support which they provide to member states. ICAO has strongly promoted the role of regional safety oversight organizations, including in the Assembly Resolution A39-14, as well as providing guidance through document 9734. The 2017 RSOO Forum endorsed the Global Strategy and Action Plan for improving the RSOOs and the establishment of a global system for the provision of safety oversight, GASOS. As part of the implementation of this strategy, the cooperative platform for RSOs was created to facilitate the sharing of experience between those organizations and their interfacing with ICAO, as well as coordination of technical assistance, with the overall objective of strengthening those organizations. The development of GASOS was initiated by ICAO with the double objective of strengthening states' safety oversight capabilities by providing them with a system for the delegation of safety oversight functions to recognize safety oversight organizations, SOOs, and, on the other hand, strengthening existing regional SOOs. Today, about 17 initiatives for regional cooperation have been launched or are under preparation, including established RSOOs. ICAO-led projects and cooperative inspector schemes have also begun working. 13 RSOs are functioning already, covering more than 130 states around the world. They are acting in different legal, economical, and procedural frameworks, but are sharing the common objective of strengthening the safety oversight performance of their member states. Examples of achievements and ongoing developments for some RSOOs are provided in the separate information paper, number 159, which you can read. It is also recognized that many RSOOs are facing challenges that are preventing them from contributing to the fullest possible extent to reinforcing safety oversight capacity of their member states. The main challenges were brought to light during the RSOO evaluation completed by ICAO in November 2017, which relate to their legal framework, their organizational structure, resources, and technical capacities, their funding mechanisms, and their management processes and systems. The current actions of ICAO aimed at supporting RSOOs and strengthening the recognition of those should be commended. In order for all regional organizations to be able to meet the GASP tasks, it is important for the states to be able to create functioning, well-functioning RSOOs. In particular, through GASOS recognition, RSOOs will be strengthened both by the independent assessment activities and associated improvement incentives making them more effective and efficient in supporting their member states. The actions are found in the executive summary at the beginning of the document. We invite the conference to acknowledge that RSOs have an important role to play in carrying out safety oversight functions on behalf of their member states, recommend that states further support the strengthening of RSOs, recommend that ICAO further support the strengthening of RSOs and their recognition within the ICAO safety system, recommend that ICAO ensure adequate recognition of the role of RSOs within the ICAO safety system, and recommend that RSOs continue to engage in the RSO cooperative platform and that they engage actively in the establishment of the future GASOS. I would like to mention yesterday's discussion, and in the light of possible questions, that we are not talking about any kind of commercialization of safety oversight, not in this document, nor in the concept of the regional organizations, nor in GASOS. Secondly, there will be no revolution in the framework of that concept. The regional organizations exist. They're already working, some of them more than 20 years. And the only thing that's required right now is recognition of their function in simplifying the administrative and bureaucratic formalities of providing more effective interaction between the states. As for the time frame for implementation of the RSO concept and GASOS, we would like to state that we're a little behind with those initiatives. As today, there is certainly a deep need for change in the system, and drawing out the GASOS implementation is not constructive, as there are a number of regions where the dynamics of air traffic is increasing at twice the average world rate, and so they really need the support today. And the choice is not whether or not to get started, or the choice that we have now is to run fast enough to get on that train before it gets away from us. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, IAC, for presentation of WP 158. We'll now open the floor for questions, comments, and contributions. We have Germany. Germany, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Germany wishes to thank the US and the other co-sponsors of Working Paper 63, we applaud the work that has been done in regard to the Global Runway Safety Action Plan. We would also like to thank Eurocontrol and EASA, who also have given much input to this work. We would like also to endorse Working Paper 179, presented by Colombia, and indeed bird strikes are a threat and therefore should not be neglected in ICAO's global aviation safety activities. We would also like to report that in Germany, the management of safety in aviation was also able to benefit from the experiences of wildlife management in aviation, where safety management tools are made use of already since almost 50 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Germany. Singapore, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Singapore agrees with the views of the United States expressed in Working Paper 127. Any restructuring of the existing regional mechanisms should be done in consultation with the regions and should take into account the state of aviation development in those regions. It is important to ensure that regions remain focused on the safety agenda through their regional aviation safety groups. Separately, Singapore would also like to congratulate the Runway Safety Program Working Group for the development of the Global Runway Safety Action Plan presented in Working Paper 63 by the United States on behalf of the various international organizations. We agree that attention should be paid to addressing runway safety risks through the establishment of national runway safety programs and effective runway safety teams. In addition, based on our experience, for such collaboration to be effective, there should be clarity of roles and responsibilities and effective communication among all stakeholders. Therefore, it is important for states to also emphasize the needs for continued training in runway safety-related initiatives at all levels. This will help to align the stakeholders and enable them to work together towards reducing the global rate of runway-related occurrences. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Singapore. I will now invite Republic of Korea to take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Republic of Korea recognizes that runway safety issue is one of the most challenging risks to be managed by many member states, which requires close collaboration among stakeholders at the national, regional, and global level. In this context, Republic of Korea welcomes Working Paper 63 presented by the United States, which emphasizes the importance of cooperation among stakeholders from national level to global level, and requesting ICAO to continue to lead runway safety program for its continuous improvement. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Republic of Korea. It's now the turn of Greece to take the floor. Greece.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And we would like to support the Working Paper 127 presented by the United States and the proposed improved integration and cooperation between PRGs and RASGs. They are both regional entities, crucial partners for improving safety and efficiency through sharing best practices and lessons learned. Like Singapore, who spoke before us, we would also like to underline that working arrangements have to be done in consultation with states, reflecting the priorities and needs of each region. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Greece. Portugal, you have the floor.
Obrigado, Sr. Presidente. Portugal would like to express its support to Working Paper 158 on strengthening regional safety oversight organizations, which presents the current role of regional safety oversight organizations and the challenge they are facing. We would like to call the attention of this conference to acknowledge the important role that RSOOs have to play in carrying out safety oversight functions on behalf of their member states and within the Global Aviation Safety Plan framework in addressing safety issues at a regional level. In this regard, we want to encourage the delegations to this conference to support the recommendation as been proposed in the action of the executive summary of the Working Paper 158. Obrigado, Sr. Presidente.
Thank you, Portugal. I'll now invite Guinea to take the floor.
President.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say that Guinea supports Paper 127 from the United States, which speaks clearly of the need for the RASGs and PIRGs to cooperate, and supporting the conclusion of 158 presented by IAC and the information paper 159 as well. The delegation of Russia presented the conclusions, and it reflects exactly what we think, and it we associate with ourselves with that conclusion, as has been said here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Guinea. Ayata, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. IATA supports Working Paper 127 and agrees that regulator industry partnerships and collaboration, like the regional aviation safety groups, have promoted a positive culture for the sharing of safety information and the subsequent development of effective risk management strategies. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayata. Cuba, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. Cuba supports the paper submitted by Colombia 179 on bird strike hazard. And we would like to see all states get involved. Because of climate change, bird migrations are shifting, and it's important to include this in the GASP. We also support Working Papers 63 and 158, which address the issues that we are looking at in a standardized way. Thank you.
Thank you. It's now the turn of Venezuela to take the floor.
Thank you very much, Chairman. The Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela reiterates its support for Working Paper 179 presented by Colombia because we share that concern about safety, and there should be tools to get data and provide safety information, and states should be able to have consultations and determine how airspace and routes and airport vicinities are affected. We need to look at these specific safety problems and consider mitigation actions for bird strikes, and work together with the biodiversity and fauna protection organizations. We also support Working Paper 158, and we recognize the benefits of the outcomes of these types of regional organizations. Thank you.
Thank you, Venezuela. United Kingdom, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The United Kingdom supports the comments made by Germany, Portugal and Guinea, and particularly supports Working Paper 179 presented by Colombia. Our analysis of data supplied by UK operators and information we have gathered through working with other states as part of our State Safety Partnership Programme shows that wildlife hazard management is certainly an issue that requires increased attention. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, UK. I'll invite Dominican Republic to take the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. We would like to support Working Paper 63 by the United States, and we also commend the delegate of Colombia for presenting the excellent Paper 179, which we fully support, and we also agree to the action items in that paper. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Dominican Republic. Spain, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I also support Working Paper 179 by Colombia on bird strike hazard. I'd like to highlight that, as the paper states, this is a complex problem. It's not only involves the aviation authorities, but also local authorities, regional governments, and it's also a multidisciplinary problem. So you need to work with experts who have knowledge in many different fields. And that all has to be kept in mind as we address this problem. So we also agree on the need for initiatives. We have experience with this problem, which we could certainly share and further this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Spain. I'll invite the Netherlands to take the floor. Netherlands.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Netherlands support Working Paper 158, and in particular the remarks already been made by Portugal. And also we are willing to share our experiences with bird strike problems because we have some in the Netherlands as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Netherlands. Mali, you have the floor.
Merci.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Regarding the integrating role played by the regional RSOOs, and in light of the improvement of the situation in the States, I would like to say that Mali supports 158, and also I'd like to take the opportunity to support Note 120, Working Paper 127 from the United States on harmonization and integration of the RASCs and PIRGs, and at the same time also support the Working Paper 179, which speaks about bird strikes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mali. Uruguay, it's your turn to take the floor.
Gracias, señor.
Thank you, Chairman. Uruguay reiterates its support for Working Paper 179, and we congratulate Colombia on proposing a comprehensive approach to this problem. We also support Paper 158 because we believe this type of organization can drive positive outcomes in safety work. Thank you.
Thank you, Uruguay. Sweden, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Sweden would also like to support Working Paper 158 and its recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Sweden. We don't have any requests for the floor, so I'll give the floor to the Secretariat for... Nigeria. Last minute request from Nigeria. Nigeria, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I didn't want to miss the opportunity to support the Working Paper 63 by the United States of America. We believe strongly that the regional aviation safety groups, working in close collaboration with the PRRGs, will continue to improve on the safety benefits that has accrued over the years, and we can still benefit by supporting the regional aviation safety group. Thank you.
Thank you, Nigeria. Italy, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Italy, as well as many other states, we should support Working Paper 179 presented by Colombia. We recognize the importance of the issue. Bird strike is a problem for all the countries, and Italy is particularly exposed to this risk. So we believe that it deserves much more attention now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Italy. Senegal, you have the floor.
Merci, Monsieur.
Thank you, Chairman. This was, as a representative of a PIRG, was to support the idea of integrating PIRGs and RASCs in order to provide for more effectiveness in the AFI region. We are working on implementing this unification, and that is the reason why I've taken the floor to support this idea of grouping and creating synergy between the RASCs and the PIRGs to provide for more effectiveness and efficiency in Africa in the oversight area. Thank you.
Thank you, Senegal. I'll now give the floor to the Secretariat for any clarifications.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Just a very quick intervention for working paper 179 on bird strikes. Thank you to Colombia for raising this important issue, which I think has been highlighted as an issue of global concern to be included in the GASP. The recommendations related to the revision of the GASP were taken under consideration by the committee under item 6.1 yesterday. So I would just want to draw the committee's attention to the recommendation 6.1, which was presented in the Secretariat working paper on the 2020-2022 edition of the GASP, which serves as the general recommendation where we can include all the different issues that have to be included in the revision of the GASP in preparation for the endorsement of the Assembly. So the Secretariat would just like to propose that the issue of bird strikes be addressed under this general recommendation so that it can be then put into all the list of topics that should be included for the revision of the GASP, and we can then hand it to the GASP study group to see how best to address the initiatives specific to bird strikes in the next edition for endorsement at the Assembly. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, I saw Finland, but it disappeared. Finland, do you still on the floor? No, thank you. Okay, so this concludes the papers under sub-item 7.2. To summarize the discussions and conclusions, the committee agreed to the following. The activities of the ICAO-led Runway Safety Program and the launch of the Global Runway Safety Action Plan, GASP, the need to proceed with caution in considering the restructuring of the RACs and the PERCs to ensure that the RACs remain focused on building upon their successes in improving safety within their respective regions, and there's also a need to consult states on the restructuring of these regional mechanisms. The need to include safety enhancement initiatives aimed at preventing bird strikes in the 2020-22 edition of the GASP, and also to integrate statistics related to bird hazards in ISTARS, and to explore potential tools to support safety information analysis by states. Finally, the committee also acknowledged that RSOOs had a key role to play at the regional and global level to support the states with the challenges they were facing to discharge their safety responsibilities, provided they were adequately empowered and resourced, and agreed with the proposed recommendation on WP 158 presented by IAC. IAC people had overwhelming support. So that brings us to the end of sub-item 7.2. I will crave your indulgence. We may go a bit beyond 5 today, but we'll pay back tomorrow, I can assure you, we'll close early. To consider, for administrative reasons, we need to start the consideration of 7.3 today. So there are two batches, first and second batch. We will start with the second batch.
With one paper, specifically.
Yeah.
Only one more.
All right. So I thank you for your patience. So we will, so 7.3 is on other implementation initiatives. So like I said, we will swap the order. We will start with the second batch, and we will consider WP 72 by the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, discuss it, and conclude for the day. Then we'll continue tomorrow. Like I said, for administrative reasons, we need to look at the second batch now. So with your indulgence, we'll invite the DPRK to present working paper 72. You have the floor.
Okay. Thank you, Chairperson. So the presentation, the title of this working paper, 72, Impact Assessment Report regarding suspended safety and security services. The purpose of this report is to provide an impact analysis which addresses the aviation safety and operational aspects for each item identified in the following suspended services: SITA, SADIS, Jefferson, Collins, Avionics. This report describes the issues concerning the safety impacts and what is currently being done without the services. The suspended services identified in this paper refer to the unreasonable sanctions imposed by some member states, such as US, UK. Therefore, there are happening so many risks in civil aviation activities made by them artificially in ensuring the safe flight operation in DPR of Korea. Such challenges shall be addressed and solved in a timely manner, and all the member states shall recognize the risks made due to such unreasonable suspended services. The political motivation shall not affect the technical activities of civil aviation in order to ensure the safety of international flight operations. During this conference meeting, US and UK have presented so many papers regarding the safety implementation, but it can be thought that it is difference between the voice and its action. This paper describes in detail the result of impact assessment in terms of safety, regulatory compliance, and efficiency, financial aspects regarding suspended services. I kindly invite the conference to review carefully the information contained in this paper. So the action required: the general administration of civil aviation DPR Korea wants relevant contracting states to take all proper actions necessary for the reinstatement of suspended services. And then the service providers, SITA, SADIS, Jefferson, Collins, Avionics, which implemented the suspension of safety and security services, are strongly urged to take measures as soon as possible to reinstate the suspended services in consideration of the impact on the efficiency of international flight operations, aviation safety, and security. It must be noted that despite the obligations of the states, of the applicable service providers to adhere to the requirements and obligations of the contracting states to the Chicago Convention, the subject services were withdrawn as a result of domestic policies of each concerned state and not by ICAO. ICAO is requested to play a role in solving the challenges encountered with the safety and efficiency of flight operations of contracting states, with the purpose of ensuring safety, regularity, and efficiency of international aviation. It cannot be condoned that any one state can, through the provision of required ICAO service, selectively deny service based on domestic law in contravention to the Chicago Convention. We emphasize that the conference is invited to take appropriate action in order that this issue relating suspended services in DPR Korea could be addressed and discussed in the ICAO Council meeting for the possible solution. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, DPR Korea. We are joined by the Director of Air Navigation Bureau, Mr. Steve Kramer, and I'll give him the floor now before we open it up for other contributions. Steve, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. There has been a continuing dialogue that has taken place between the ICAO Secretariat, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and other parties to support safe operations of international civil aviation, and the progress on any significant developments on this matter have been reported to the ICAO, Council of ICAO. With this aim, ICAO also maintains coordination with the United Nations to ensure that assistance provided to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea rendered by ICAO would not be in violation of relevant UN Security Council resolutions. That assistance includes continuing work within the COSCAP North Asia and with dialogue undertaken between the regional office and our technical specialists there and the representatives of the Civil Aviation Administration in the DPRK. Dialogue continues, and that progress will be made within the constraints noted. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Creamer. Cuba, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Chairman. With regard to paper 72 of the People's Democratic Republic of Korea, Cuba would like to highlight the importance of ensuring air navigation safety, and we share the concern about measures that might undermine safety and go against the Chicago Convention and international law. We urge regional cooperation and international cooperation so as to guarantee safety in that region. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Cuba. I'll now invite the United States to take the floor.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And first of all, I'm the U.S. rep to the ICAO Council, and I want to thank all of you up there on the stage who have been doing amazing work throughout this entire conference. I've been very impressed, Steve, with your people who have been performing day after day, hour after hour. So I just want to personally thank all of you. But on behalf of the U.S., I need to respond to Working Paper 72 as introduced. And simply put, we object to the conclusions in this paper. If the DPRK's General Administration of Civil Aviation, GACA, wishes to be relieved of the impact of sanctions on its operations, the DPRK must comply, as Steve just stated, with UN Security Council resolutions by eliminating its unlawful WMD and ballistic missile programs in a final and fully verifiable manner. Only then can the United States and the international community consider the lifting of sanctions. The DPRK remains in violation of 10 unanimously adopted UN Security Council sanctions resolutions demanding an end to its unlawful WMD and ballistic missile programs. UN Security Council resolution just last December 22nd of 2017 reaffirms several prior Security Council resolutions stating that the DPRK, quote, shall immediately abandon all nuclear weapons and existing nuclear programs in a complete, verifiable, and irreversible manner and immediately cease all related activities. 1 year ago, the ICAO Council joined its voice to this international effort by expressing its strong condemnation of the continued launching of ballistic missiles by the DPRK over and near international air routes, seriously threatening civil aviation. I will say I'm encouraged, though, that none of this has taken place this year. But as our ICAO leadership has previously stressed, ICAO must ensure that any actions it takes are in line with relevant UN Security Council resolutions and UN sanctions policy. It simply is not appropriate for ICAO to pressure public or private providers of aviation services to fail to comply with the letter or spirit of the sanctions. So, Mr. Chairman, we are very hopeful that our present negotiations that are ongoing will be fruitful, and I look forward to helping resolve any international aviation issues once the UN Security Council resolutions requirements have been met. Thanks again.
Thank you, United States. We invite United Kingdom to take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The United Kingdom does not consider it appropriate to discuss these political measures at a technical conference. International pressure, International pressure, and specifically a robust set of United Nations sanction measures, has played a key role in bringing about recent developments. Until North Korea takes concrete steps towards complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization, sanctions must continue to be strictly enforced. We will continue to support the United States in its efforts and work closely with our international partners for a diplomatic solution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, UK. Japan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman of this committee. My delegation would first like to echo the remarks by the United States and the United Kingdom regarding working paper WP/72 presented by DPRK under this agenda item. Japan would like to reiterate the importance of the fulfillment by North Korea of its obligations under the relevant UN Security Council resolutions and the Chicago Conventions. Then, if North Korea takes specific actions in the relevant areas, including international civil aviation, Japan would like to welcome North Korea's engagement with and participation in ICAO activities. The actions expected of North Korea for ensuring aviation safety and security includes its official communication to the Council with respect whether and how to be following those rules, as well as the Council decision. Japan considers it necessary for North Korea to come forward and tell ICAO how and what a specific action or measure it's taking, so that the Council can see closely the status of the response on behalf of all member states, and thus properly acknowledge the intention of North Korea to act as a responsible member state, just like we are. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Japan. France, you have the floor.
Merci. Thank you, Chairman. My delegation gained knowledge of working paper 72 and have read it, and I would thank Secretariat for the additional information. France would like to very clearly reassert that North Korea is bound by the measures decided by the UN Security Council. Certainly, this is not the Security Council, but the resolutions of the Security Council prevail here just like everywhere else. Further, the Council of ICAO has made requests to North Korea in October 2017, and those requests remain on the table. And we are waiting for answers from the DPRK and clear commitments. Chairman, France welcomes the détente, which is being observed in the Korean Peninsula, and continuing dialogue among the parties and between the two Koreas. This is important and encouraging. We hope that this will enable North Korea to make concrete gestures to show that they are sincere in their preparedness to have full, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization of the peninsula, which is more than ever our goal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, France. China, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Chinese side also noticed the concerns expressed by the working paper and also the Secretariat's comments and the report on the issues of North Korea, the Korean Peninsula. We also welcome the development achieved this year and also welcome the unremitting efforts to achieve aviation safety. We hope that we will meet the parties concerned will meet halfway and work jointly to solve the issues related to and to contribute to the orderly development of aviation in that area. Thank you.
Thank you, China. Australia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Australia, like a number of other states before us, expect all states and ICAO to comply with UN Security Council resolutions. We also note and welcome the dialogue that has developed over the last year with North Korea and look forward to that dialogue continuing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No further requests for the floor, so... Oh, there's a request from the DPR of Korea. You have the floor.
Thank you. I'll explain about that. As a sovereign nation of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, reserved independent rights to protect its territory and people from the aggressive actions of hostile forces against DPR Korea. To the end of defending the territory and people of DPR Korea, the Korean People's Army can take all necessary preparatory measures to develop and test the defensive systems, including intercontinental ballistic missiles. These developmental programs are considered top secret, as they are in most states, and information or details regarding the associated development activities are not shared with the General Administration of Civil Aviation. The test launching of rockets in DPR Korea were conducted based on sophisticated and sufficient surveys carried out in advance, thereby considering possible hazardous impacts to international civil aviation activity. Therefore, neither fatal accidents nor serious incidents occurred. Moreover, no adverse effect to flight operations occurred. As an ICAO contracting state, the DPR Korea has in place the processes and procedures to notify adjacent countries of any activity or incident arising from its territory which may pose a risk to civil aviation routes or operations when so informed by the Korean People's Army. This was confirmed by the ICAO USOAP Audit of 2018 and ongoing monitoring activity. GASA, when informed, will issue the necessary notification in accordance with the ICAO requirements. As the ICAO is well aware that General Administration of Civil Aviation, DPR Korea, has in the past issued the necessary launch information through NOTAMs several times in advance of launchings, including artificial satellite test launching in accordance with the applicable procedures. And then that it should also be noted that resolutions of the United Nations Security Council has in fact negatively affected the level of safety in DPR of Korea by forcing technical suppliers of the state airline Air Korea to withdraw services, SITA, Jefferson Sadis, etc., and support critical to maintaining safety for commercial aircraft operations. Everybody understands that these services are very essential for the safe conduct of the flight operation, not to be addressed by the technical aspects, just addressed with the technical way for the safe flight operations. I believe that everybody can understand my explanation. And also, please note that DPR Korea has announced that its national nuclear arms development program is concluded and that there will be no more nuclear tests, including launches of intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, after 21st April 2018, as per the resolution of the third plenary meeting of the 7th Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea and the United States of America committed themselves to making joint efforts for the establishment of permanent and comprehensive peace on the Korean Peninsula through a joint statement issued during the Singapore Summit meeting on 12th June 2018. And moreover, the situations in the Korean Peninsula is ever more improving day by day. So the suspended services just relating the technical problems for the safe conduct of the flight operation. The political matters shall not be linked to the safe operation of the flight operation. Thank you.
Thank you, Democratic People's Republic of Korea. This concludes our discussion on the specific working paper 72. And it's heartwarming to note the continuing dialogue taking place. So we can conclude as follows. The continuing dialogue taking place between ICAO, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and other parties to support safe operation of international civil aviation in accordance with the relevant UN Security Council resolutions. So this is the agreement the committee has come to. And on this note, I wish to thank all of you for staying on for this very long day. It's almost at 5:15. And I also like to thank the interpreters for being with us for this long period. Like I said, I'll give back your time to you tomorrow. And remember, we have Sky Talks at 5:15 to 5:45. it will be on the modernization of the air navigation system. Then at 18:00 to 20:00, we have a special reception sponsored by Thalys. You cannot miss this reception. So let's be at the Sky Talking at the reception. And on this note, we want to say a big thank you, merci beaucoup, for a very interesting day. And we'll see all of you at 9:25 a.m. prompt tomorrow. Have a good evening.